Testing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Hey, hey, 1, 2. Hey, hey, check 1, 2. One, two, three, 1, 2. Check 1, 2, 3. Check 1 2. Hey hey. 1 2 3. 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2. Well, good evening and welcome to all of you out there that are joining us here this evening. Coming up here in about 20 minutes or so, we'll have the Cornerstone Christian Academy boys junior high 7th and 8th grade basketball teams taking on Flanagan. Flanagan just now arriving, so it might be closer here to 5:45 before we tip off. But we get down to about 10 minutes on the clock, and I will hop back on and give you guys some starting lineups and talk a little bit about tonight's game. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back here in a bit. Well, good evening and welcome to Cornerstone Christian Academy for tonight's doubleheader, 7th grade and 8th grade junior high boys basketball. We've got about 3 minutes until we tip this one off. Thanks for joining us, and go down some rosters here for you guys. Starting now with your Cornerstone Cyclones. Number 2, Tyler Marquardt. Number 3, Joel Dalzon. Number 3, Evan Klein. Number 5, Ezra Miller. Number 10, Joey Balonis. Number 23, Evan Tom. And number 25 is Ben Toma. Tonight they're taking on the Falcons from Flanagan. Flanagan making the road trip down here. And their roster is as follows. Number 1, Adam Cox. Number 3, Hayden Frazier. Number 5, Tyler Ruiz. Number 10, Owen Block. Number 12, Riley Brown. Number 14, Oliver Weber. Number 20 is Jackson Torres. 22 is Tanner Norman. 33 is Javian Maxon. 35, Conrad Lane. 41 is Cole Dons. 42, Reese Pelhirsch. And 52 is Preston Brown. Doubleheader for you here today. Glad to bring it to you. And we got about a minute and a half here before the national anthem. I'll be back with you shortly. I'm going to write down some notes here, and we'll get this one started for you.
Thank you for coming, Flanagan. Thank you to our 5 spectators. Thank you for coming. If you would just bow your heads for a prayer, please, Lord. Dear Lord, thank you so much for the chance to play basketball. We pray for all of our athletes and officials, Lord, that you just bestow health on them. Pray that everyone enjoys being able to compete and show good character as well, Lord. Thank you for the opportunity to play. In your name, amen. Now please rise for our national anthem.
And the boys are going to stand for the national anthem. And with that, we're about to get this one started. Once again, welcome to all of you out there. 7th grade action to start this one out tonight. We'll have the starting lineups for you here in just a moment as they become available. 6-minute quarters. This one getting started just a couple minutes late as Flanagan took their time getting down here just because of the roads and weather. Wanted to give them a little bit extra warm-up time here to get ready. So it doesn't sound like they're going to announce the starters, but for Flanagan, number 3, Hayden Frazier, number 14, Oliver Weber, 20, Jackson Torres, 33, Javion Maxson, and 42, Reese Pelhirsch. For the Cyclones, number 4, Evan Klein, number 3, Joel Dalzon, number 10, Joey Balonis, number 23, Evan Tom, and number 25, Ben Toma. Again, no jump ball here in 7th grade action. So the visiting team will take it out here first. Then it'll be back and forth throughout the game. 2-3 zone starting out for the Cyclones. Flanagan with it on the far side now, rotating it back up top. Back out to the wing, and they've got that one guy flashing the baseline. That's how they beat that zone. He's wide open, tipped on the outside by Dalzon. That one will go out of bounds and stay with the Falcons. Torres will take this one out of bounds. And running just a little bit of a box spread there, mainly for a man defense, but they ran it there and got it inbounds. Rotating back out top is Javion Maxson. Maxson now to the near side. Rotating it back up to the top. Flash in the lane, drives down to the paint. Nobody there, tipped away and stolen by Dalzon. He's got a wide open fast break here, takes it in for the layup and off the side. Rebound goes to the Falcons. Still 0-0 here, 5:22 remaining in the first quarter, out of bounds as he was double-teamed just on this side of the timeline, and that will roll out of bounds over to the Cyclones. And it looks like very quickly there they called a 30-second timeout, and they're going to work on an offense against that zone defense. Running a lot of rotation under there, and doesn't work the way they wanted it to. Regardless, Cyclones are going to have the ball here with 5 minutes and 20 seconds left. 0-0 the score, first quarter, first game of our doubleheader tonight. And we're glad to bring it to you. Cyclones back out on the court, throwing it in. Evan Tom down to Ben Toma. Toma's going to bring it across the timeline here. And Flanagan's going to start out in man. Nice screen there set by Tom. Try to roll it under to Dalzon. Dalzon on the far side of the baseline. Toma with it now, penetrating and driving on his left hand. And they're going to call a foul on number 33, Javion Maxson. No shots, so that one will just go out of bounds. And Balonis to throw this one in. Looking for a guy, and that one was tipped away. Tried to be saved it back to Balonis, but they're going to say the Flanagan player stepped on the sideline, so it's going to go back out of bounds, and Cornerstone have a chance to do this again. Try to run their split against the man, running it all the way across to Dalzon, and tipped out of bounds again by Flanagan. No ball fakes going on right there. So Flanagan able to see exactly what's going on. Balonis to throw it in one more time. A little bit of confusion here, but they get it in bounds, and unfortunately he couldn't hang on to it. And that one's going to stay Cyclones, they said. Long pass over up top to Dalzon. Dalzon now with it. Penetrates on the right-hand side. Down double-teamed out to Balonis. Balonis 15-foot jumper. That one off the side of the rim. Out of bounds. Or no, they're going to rebound that one. Flanagan is bringing it across the timeline here. Flanagan with it now on the far side, down to the baseline. Again, still running some rotation here. Penetrates on the baseline, looking for somebody now. Picked up his dribble in a bad spot. Back up to the top of the key, now to the free throw line. At the elbow, goes down to the baseline, wide open jumper. That one's up and just off the side of the rim. Rebounds go to the Cyclones. Toma with it. Almost traveled, but was able to get it over to Dalzon, who penetrates in. Down to Klein. Klein with it. That one off the mark. Back out to Balonis. Balonis with it, top of the key. Over to Toma. Toma with it now. 8-foot jumper, no good. And that one's going to be tipped out of bounds and go the way of the Falcons. Couple clean looks there for the Cyclones. Can't get anything to fall. We're at 4 minutes and 15 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. Still 0-0. Flanagan now brings it across the timeline. Cornerstone still back in their 2-3 zone. Not putting any pressure on anything beyond the three-point line. And then Klein gets his hand on that one, stripped, and Toma with a fast break now. Toma has it knocked away, but they're going to call a foul on a reach in there. Number 42, Reese Pellhirsch, is going to get called for that personal. And that is going to be the team's third foul. Cornerstone with it under their own bucket. Rotating around, same play. That one over to Dalzon, but a little bit long, and he was able to corral it over to Toma now at the top of the key. Toma left hand down to Blonis on the far side. Out to Tom. Evan Tom with a long three-pointer. And they're going to call another foul here. I believe that one's going to be on number 35. It is going to be on number 35 for the visiting squad. Conrad Lane picks up his first personal. Cornerstone once again out of bounds underneath their own bucket. Blonis with it. Same rotation, going to have to go long here. And Dalzon picks it up nicely, drives into the paint, 5-foot little bunny hop, no good. Rebound Klein. Klein with it, scramble on the ground. That one's going to be pulled away. But before it does, they're going to call a jump ball, and that one's going to stay down here with Cornerstone. Cyclones have had several opportunities down here on the out of bounds and have not been able to put any points on the board yet. Run that play around the same way to Dalzon. Dalzon now with it on the baseline, and they're going to get Javian Maxson for his second personal. And that is already 5 team fouls on Flanagan. And Cornerstone's going to want a timeout here. Talk this one over. I would imagine they're going to talk about their out-of-bounds set. And that's exactly what they're going to do. 3:40 remaining here in the first quarter. Still 0-0. 7th grade action. Dan Kinzinger alongside Allie Kinzinger. She doesn't want to talk. You don't want to talk at all? No? She gets to hang out with Dad here tonight. Glad to bring it to you. We'll have 2 games tonight coming up after this one. 8th grade boys action. Both the 7th and 8th grade now 1-0 on the season. Tomorrow night, we'll have girls junior high volleyball right here on this feed. Feel free to rejoin us. As Mrs. Blonis, that is her in the camera right there. You got to have some fun. They're going to switch it up. They're going to run a box, and what they're going to do is watch the cross screen here. You're going to have 2 guys going across the lane, setting a pick for the other 2 guys. And hopefully you get a nice little bunny hop layup on the front. There they go, crossing, looking over to Dalzon. He's got it underneath, but had to bring it back out on the baseline. Near side, over with the left hand now. Long three-point attempt. That one off the front iron, and rebound to Flanagan. 3.5 minutes now. First quarter, 0-0 the score. Flanagan brings it across the timeline. Cyclones back into a 2-3. Near side with it, out beyond the three-point line. Down to the baseline, still out. Left-hand penetration, and they're going to call a foul on Evan Klein on that one as he was a little bit out of position and then reached around. Non-shooting foul, so it'll be out of bounds here to Flanagan. Cyclones need to pack this zone in tight. Stay between their man and the bucket. And they do get it in, but Blonis with a nice block there for him. Jump ball called. And that one will stay down here with Flanagan. The smallest guy out there on the court got that one, and then Blonis was just able to put his hand up to stop that shot. Inbounds pass again, looking for somebody on the inside. Nobody's there, so they have to kick it out to the three-point line. Rotating it back up to the top now, left-hand side. Dribbling it down, nobody there, and they're going to call another jump ball. This one's going to go over to the Cyclones. 3:07 remaining here, first quarter, still 0-0. And a substitution coming into the game here for the Cyclones. Number 5, Ezra Miller, comes in for Ben Toma. So Dalzon is going to bring this one up. Down to Blonis. Blonis now with it, getting tied up. Right-hand dribble back to the free throw line. Nowhere to go with it, has to get rid of it. Out to Miller. Miller now with the bounce pass. That one stolen by Flanagan, and he's on the ground with it, but they still able to maintain possession, and they're going to get Klein, I'm afraid, here. And they're going to call actually a travel. So Klein got lucky there. I thought he fouled. But regardless, back to the Cyclones. 2:45 remaining here in the first quarter. Cyclones with it. Deep pass into Klein. Klein, wide open layup, goes up for it and did not get it, but he is going to get a foul called on him. He'll go to the free throw line for 2 shots. Blonis with a nice feed into Klein. Klein wide open to get that one in. Klein with his first shot. That one off the back of the iron. Substitution in the game for Flanagan, number 22, Tanner Norman, into the game now. Also, number 33, Javian Maxon. He's going to substitute in for Reese Pelhirsch. Cole Dons. Klein with shot number 2. This one up and in. And Cornerstone finds himself on top here with 2:38 remaining. 1-0 now, the score. And I believe this is going to be a mask timeout. So something new this year that the officials are doing is they're giving the boys several breaks throughout the game as official timeouts to because the boys are wearing their masks. And that is a challenge, to say the least. They are giving the boys a few more extra timeouts just to catch their breath and get a drink of water because of the masks. 1-0 your score here. 7th grade boys action here at Cornerstone, taking on the Flanagan Falcons. Still in the first quarter. And Evan Klein with the only points thus far. Seventh grade boys started out a little bit slow in their last game, but then after halftime really picked it up and played nicely to pick up their first victory of the season. .238 remaining here, first quarter. And Flanagan will have it now underneath the Cornerstone bucket. Cornerstone going with a full court press here, zone press. And only works if they trap, and they're trying to trap on this side of the timeline, and they're going to call Klein on that foul. Out of position on that one. So Klein's going to pick up his second one. Flanagan with it now on the far side. Stolen away by Evan Tom. Dalzon with it now. 1-0. Cornerstone leads. 2:20 remaining here in the first quarter. Dalzon with it, top of the key. Lobs it over to Klein. Klein in for the layup, and that one is good. And a beautiful feed by Dalzon into Evan Klein for 2. 3-0 now. Cornerstone lead. Press. Klein gets over for this one. Nice trap at the timeline. Nowhere to go with it. And that's going to be a backcourt violation, over and back, and that's exactly how that zone defense is supposed to work. As soon as that ball comes over that timeline, that acts as the third defender, and you put a box in along the sideline, and they've got nowhere to go, and they passed it back over the court, back to the center for an over-in-the-back call. Cornerstone with it again, 3-0. Dalzon with it, top of the key. Bologna screen on the right-hand side. Dalzon looks into Klein again. Klein goes up for another shot, and he's going to be fouled. Go back to the line for 2 more. So Klein getting good position underneath, and because of his height advantage, Dalzon's just feeding him. No backside help at all. Klein with his free throw, and that's good. 4-0, and that's all 4 points coming from Evan Klein. Klein now with shot number 2. That one's good. Cornerstone now leads by 5-0 here. 1:54 remaining in the first quarter. Full court press again by the Cyclones. They're driving him back to the outside. And he did not step across the timeline that time wisely. And Flanagan gets it now. Now on the far side, three-point line. Wide open jumper on the left side. That one off the glass, no good. And rebound over to Evan Klein. We'll see if the Falcons change up their defense here. No, they're going to stay with man. Dalzon back up there. Feeds it over to Tom. Tom now with it, a long two-pointer, and that one's going to be good. He was standing right on the free throw line, so Evan Tom picking up his first 2 points of the night. Now 7-0 for the Cyclones. Flanagan with it, trying to break the press. They do. Down around the baseline now, and they're going to call carry on the Falcons. And if you're not used to playing against a press, it is a challenge. Ben Toma now bring it across the timeline. Dalzon's going to go wide to the far side. And they're just going to lob it into Klein. Klein, nice kick out to Balonis. Balonis, 8-footer, no good. Rebound over to Dalzon. Dalzon with it. And they're going to say he stepped on the line as he jumped, and then he was the first person to touch the ball next. And so it will go back to Flanagan. 58 seconds remaining, 7-0 the score. Cornerstone back in their press, and they get it back to Maxson. Maxson now with it, trying to break the press, get it to the middle. That's what they want to do. He's on this side, though, has nowhere to pass it, lobs it over, and this one's stolen by Dalzon. Dalzon with the right-hand side over to Klein. Klein now with it, up for 2. And Evan Klein now with 7 points here in the first quarter. 9-0 the score. Cornerstone on top. Going back to the press, and this press is driving Flanagan crazy, and that one's going to be a foul, though, on Evan Klein. And they got to watch that because that's going to be foul number 3 on Klein. So their leading scorer right now is going to have to go to the bench for at least the next 30 seconds, if not a portion of the second quarter as well, to protect him for the second half. And into the game for him is Joel Dalzon. Or excuse me, Tyler Marquardt. So Flanagan should have the ball. A little confusion there, but that's what happens when the foul is called on the opposite team. Flanagan back into their offense. Near side now beyond the three-point line. Looking down low for it. Little left-hand dribble going down to the baseline. He's going to pull up and take that shot off the front iron, and that one's going to roll and go out of bounds, and it should stay Flanagan ball. And it does. So Tyler Marquardt now taking over down at the baseline in that zone where Evan Klein was. A little bit of height disadvantage for Tyler. Pass to the near side now for Falcons. They've got one man in the middle. That one's going to go off his hands and out of bounds, though. And they're going to say that one stayed the way of Flanagan. Cornerstone packing in. Looking for the lob. Nothing there, so they have to tip it outside. Dalzon with it. And lobs it with 1 second to go. That one's going to be off the mark, but that's how the first quarter is going to end. Cornerstone takes a first quarter lead, 9-0 here as we move to quarter number 2. But the story thus far, Evan Klein with 7 points. Most of those points coming from in the paint and a couple of free throws as well, as they're finding him, the big man on the court with a big target. And he's been able to turn those into points. Say thank you to our cheerleading squad that is here tonight. We've got 5, Those 5 cheerleaders are Addie Jeffrey, Maddie Klein, Caitlin Scott, Emmy Jeffrey, and Anya McAtee. So the odd part about being a cheerleader in the COVID era is that you're not able to verbally cheer. So it's difficult. I understand, but we are so grateful that these girls are out here cheering the boys on, and we'll get to watch their halftime performance here coming up in about 10 minutes. Coming up after this one tonight, we've got the 8th grade boys. And they are a fun squad to watch. Okay, Cornerstone back out on the court. There's 6 of them, and that's Evan Klein's going to take a seat back here with 3 personal fouls. Let's see if Coach shifted this zone up a little bit here. And they did. They shifted back to man. So man-to-man now for the Cyclones. We'll see how they respond. Flanagan on the right-hand side, wide open right-hand dribble, and they're going to get that and one. Tyler Marquardt reached out the last minute and just clipped the arm of Javian Maxson. So Flanagan comes out of the gate and drives right down the paint and gets the and one. 9-2 here in the second quarter. Maxson at the line. His shot is up and off the back iron. Rebound now to Toma. Toma with it, left hand, going hard. Passes it off to Dalzon. Dalzon takes 2 steps, and he's going to be fouled. And he's going to go to the free throw line for 2 shots now. And that should be team foul number 7 on Flanagan. So we should have after this, if it's not a shooting foul, it'll be a 1-and-1 moving forward. Dalzon's first shot, that one off the mark. Shot number 2. That one's up, and that one's off as well. Rebound to Flanagan. Cyclones back in their man-to-man defense, shifting it up since the first quarter, putting some pressure on Maxson. Maxson taking it hard down the right-hand lane, just like he did before. Throws this one up. Rebound, Balonis. Balonis with it now. Needing to give it up, and they're going to say he traveled. He did. Took a couple steps there, trying to stop. And so that one will go back to Flanagan. Over at half court. Cornerstone not picking up their guys till the three-point line. They're going to try to keep this as packed in as they can. Maxson now with it, back right-handed dribble, taking it down the paint, nowhere to go with it. Kicking it back out, stolen by Toma. Toma with it now, kicks it ahead to Marquardt. Marquardt with it down on the baseline, out beyond the three-point line, into Toma. Toma, 7-foot jumper, no good. And rebound, Dalzon. Dalzon with it, back out to Toma. Toma on the far side, back to Marquardt. Toma now with it, down on the paint, kicks it back out to Dalzon. Dalzon, ball fakes, drive baseline, back to Toma, and a little 3-foot bunny hopper into Toma. And Cornerstone stretches it back out to 9, 11-2. Pass back, stolen by Dalzon. Dalzon feeds Toma with it. Reverse layup, no good. Rebound, and that one's going to go to Flanagan. Flanagan has a little fast break action, but Toma comes running back, picks this one off, and actually falls down, but able to retain possession. And Dalzon's with it now, going to set up the offense. Dalzon over to Balonis. Balonis, right-hand dribble into the lane. Out to Marquardt. Marquardt's going to fire a long two-pointer. That one off the mark. Rebound to the Falcons. Down with it now is Jackson Torres. Back over to Frazier. Frazier back to Maxson. Maxson with it now on the left-hand side. Switches back to his right hand. Going down the far side, down the paint, finds a wide-open lane, and reached out and blocked. A nice, clean block by Joel Dalzon, who made up 3 steps in about 1 and reached up and knocked that one out of bounds. So Flanagan's going to have it underneath their own bucket. into the game as well is number 5, Ezra Miller. And Tyler Marquardt's going to take a seat. And they're going to say the out-of-bounds player moved, can't do that. And coming back into the game here is Evan Klein. And Dalzon's going to take a seat. Still in man. Cornerstone with it. Flanagan underneath their own bucket. This one taken down on the sideline. Rotated back out the top. Evan Klein steps in front. Steals that one. Feeds it back up to him. And they fires off an 8-footer. That one no good. Rebound out to Toma. Balonis with a 12-footer. That one off the mark. Saved back in by Toma. He's everywhere. Tom with the now shot. And what a great three-pointer. A little bit off balance by Evan Tom. But Ben Toma all over the place on that one. Double team now, top of the key. Klein's looking for his man. So Maxson with it. Toma's on Maxson. So Maxson likes to run off the right-hand side there. He does that again. Stops and pops. That one off the mark. Gets his own rebound. Not quite. Back to Toma. Toma's up to feed Klein. That one just over his head and stolen away by the Falcons. Falcons now have numbers. And a out-of-balance shot rebounded by the Falcons. That one up and no good. Rebound Falcons again. Maxson with a 16-footer. That one off the mark. This one's going to go all the way back around and get knocked out of bounds. So the Cyclones will have this one. And they're going to call a Cornerstone timeout here. 2:51 remaining here, second quarter, 14-2. Cyclones on top. Evan Klein having to sit out a couple of minutes here at the beginning of the second period with 3 fouls. And Chad Toma, the head coach, is talking to him right now and just reminding him he can't foul right now. 2:51 remaining here, second quarter. First game of a doubleheader. Game number 2, 8th grade boys coming up after this one. So this will be Cornerstone's ball out on the far side of the court. Dalzon's back in the game, so is Klein. Back to the starters. So you've got Tom, Toma, Balonis, Dalzon, and Klein. So Tom's going to take it out of bounds into Dalzon. Dalzon now with it, crossing the timeline. Flanagan in man. Klein with it at the free throw stripe. Packs it back to Dalzon. Dalzon near side, three-point line. Top of the key to Tom. Tom left-hand dribble, looking for somebody and passes it over to Toma. Toma with it now on the right-hand side. Picked up his dribble over to Klein. Klein with it, takes a dribble bounce step into the paint. And a nice little 4-footer there for Evan Klein. And he's got 9 on the day. Flanagan trying to break the press. 16-2, the Cornerstone lead. Falcons with it now at the free throw line. Stop, pop. That one's going to be short of the rim and go out of bounds back to the Cyclones. .2:11 remaining here in the second quarter. Dalzon now with it, crossing the timeline. Right-hand dribble off the side, has a wide-open lane, dishes it off to Klein. Klein's had the hot hand. He puts this one up and in. And Evan Klein putting on a clinic in the paint. This one stolen away, but maintained, actually not quite, maintained by Flanagan. Tipped away by Dalzon. Now it's stolen. And he feeds down low to Evan Tom. That one knocked away, though. And they're going to say that Evan Tom with the foul. So Flanagan will have it back out underneath the Cyclone basket. Full court press staying on for the Cyclones. 18-2. Cyclones with a 16-point lead. Inbounds pass made. Klein looking to set up the double team. Ball's on the ground, trying to pick it up. That one rotated around, and they're going to call a travel. That was a delayed travel, but a travel nonetheless. I think that all goes back to that digital whistle that she's carrying. That one will go back to the Cyclones. So Toma now with it, top of the key, setting the offense. Left-hand side. Picks up his dribble, finds it over to Dalzon. Dalzon, long three-point. That's going to be off the mark to the right-hand side. Almost gets his own rebound. Passes it down to Klein. Klein with the hot hand. And Evan Klein is red hot tonight. 20-2 now. Klein with something like 14 already here. Minute 11 remaining in the second quarter. Flanagan with it now. 18-point Cyclone lead. Maxson with it, top of the key. He likes to go right. Pass off to his right-hand side. Rotating it back around to the top of the key. Donze with it. Passes it back to the right. Almost knocked away. But Flanagan maintains possession. Hands on it by Dalzon. And this is causing them some frustration. Tipped away, and Toma with the steal. Going down the right-hand side, sets up a layup. This one rolls up and in, and Cornerstone has hung a 20 spot on the Falcons. 22-2 now. 30 seconds remaining here in the second quarter. Maxson with it, top of the key. Nowhere to go with it. Picked up his dribble. Off to the right-hand side. Back to Maxson, but that one's tipped away as well. Evan Tom with the steal. Looking down court to Klein. Klein with about a 6-footer. This one off the mark. Flanagan with the rebound. Double team, but they get it out of there. And now Flanagan's going to push it up the court. 4 seconds. 3, 2. We'll see if they get a shot off, and they do not. It's going to go out of bounds, and that's how the first half is going to end. Cyclones coming out of that second quarter and having quite the ball game. 22-2, a 20-point lead for the boys heading in the locker room. Talk a little bit more about it, but first let's enjoy our cheerleaders. He's having a ball game tonight. I offered to have her do color, and she said no. You help me. We'll talk at halftime here. Throw some volleyball terminology in there. Fine. 22-2 at halftime. About a 10-minute halftime here. Cornerstone 20-point lead. And all that really coming in some big spurts for the Cyclones, led by Evan Klein. And Flanagan really having some struggles getting that press broke. Several turnovers. But the one thing right now is Klein, who's been their leading scorer thus far, finds himself in some foul trouble. So we'll see if Flanagan comes back out in the third quarter and exploits that. We thanks once again to our cheerleaders who have come out here just like the boys, having to adjust to the COVID era, to be politically correct, I guess. And unable to scream and shout, and that's got to go against every bone in a cheerleader's body. But grateful that they're here tonight, cheering on the boys in whatever they can. Those cheerleaders tonight are Addie Jeffrey, Maddie Klein, Caitlin Scott, Emmy Jeffrey, and Anya McAtee. That's Anya waving right there. And coming up after this one, we'll have the 8th grade boys in our doubleheader for game number 2. Couple-minute break here. I'll be back with you 22-2. Again, the halftime score of the 7th grade game. Cornerstone on top of Flanagan by 20. It's been a fun one thus far. We'll have the second half for you coming up here in a few minutes. So a little halftime extra here. Don't leave, Anya McAtee, now that everybody knows you're here, okay? So Anya McAtee is one of our cheerleaders that doesn't get to scream and cheer out loud. What you got to tell everybody, because it's got to be awkward, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's not very cheerleader-ish, I guess you could say, if you don't get to yell and scream and boost the team. So, I mean, feels pretty awkward not being able to do that.
So have they given you guys any sort of, are you guys going to be able to cheer at all this year? Or are you thinking that this is the way it's going to be for the rest of the season?
We're not quite sure. I haven't really talked to Coach about it. But I'm hoping that it will change, because kind of sad that we don't get to actually cheer, but dances are fun.
Well, I tell you what, we are so proud that you guys are still here and supporting the team, and it's great to have you up there and great to watch you guys.
Thank you.
Anya McAtee, one of our junior high cheerleaders. came up here tonight and gave her input on what it's like to be a cheerleader that can't cheer. Anyway, we got about 2.5 minutes here till third quarter tip. We love our cheerleaders. We thank them very much for being down here. Halftime score 22-2. 7th grade boys, the Cyclones on top of the Falcons from Flanagan. And Cornerstone has had some real success in their full court press, and then also feeding the ball to the low post, finding Evan Klein underneath there in the first half. We'll see what Flanagan does to change that up a little bit. I would imagine that you might see Flanagan drop back into a zone to try to plug up that lane a little bit more. Cornerstone came out in the second quarter after being zone defense in the first quarter, came back out in man in the second quarter. I don't think they were quite as successful from the defensive end in man. A few more looks Flanagan had, but unable to really turn it into any points. But we'll have the second half regardless coming up for you here in about a minute and a half. Let's go down the rosters here one more time for all those that are watching from Flanagan and from Bloomington. We welcome you here on board into Cornerstone Athletics and our feed for tonight's game. Go down the roster here for the 7th grade boys one more time. Number 2, Tyler Marquardt. Number 3, Joel Dalzahn. 4 is Evan Klein. 5, Ezra Miller. 10, Joey Balonis. 23 is Evan Tom. And Ben Toma is wearing 25. For the Falcons, number 1, Adam Cox. Number 3, Hayden Frazier. 5 is Tyler Ruiz. 10, Owen Block. 12 is Riley Brown. 14, Oliver Weber. 20 is Jackson Torres. 22, Tanner Norman. 33, Javion Maxson, who's had a nice first half handling the ball. 35, Conrad Lane. 41, Cole Dons. 42 is Reese Pelhirsch. And 52, Preston Brown. And if I slaughtered any of those last names, I do apologize. Getting set here for the start of quarter number 3. Cyclones with a 20-point advantage. 6-minute quarters. 2 more to go. And we'll see how the Cyclones come out. So Flanagan will have the ball here to start the second half. And Cornerstone's going to drop back into their 2-3 zone again. Flanagan with it now on the far side. Rotating around is Maxson. Looking down low, nothing going. Passes it back to Maxson on the baseline. Right-handed dribble back into the paint. Throws it up way up high off the glass. This one no good. Rebound down to Evan Tom. And they're going to say that Tom took an extra step with that before he put the ball on the ground. Turnover back to Flanagan. Maxson with it now, back top of the key. Spread offense. Not much movement right now. They got a guy open on the left, but they find the guy on the right. Back to the middle now, looking for Maxson. Passes out long to the far side. Looking for Maxson on the baseline. They've got him. He's guarded by Klein. Klein reaches in. Maxson picks up his dribble, tries to feed it inside, but knocked away by Balonis. And Klein walks away with that one, so here comes the Cyclones. Long pass down court to Toma. Toma, wide open three-point shot. This one off the mark, though. Rebound to Balonis. Balonis down with it in the paint. Kicks it back out to Toma. Down low to Klein. Klein turns around. And another three-footer up and in for Evan Klein, picking up right where he left off. 24-2 now. A 22-point lead for the Cyclones. Maxson with the top of the key. Stolen away by Dalzahn. Dalzahn's looking all the way down by himself. Dishes it off last minute to Toma. And a great give there by Joel Dalzahn at the last minute. And Ben Toma with a nice layup. 26-2. Now a 24-point lead for the Cyclones. Cyclones back in a 2-3 zone. And Falcons in a 3-2 spread offense. Not moving, though. Maxon down with it at the baseline. He's the only one rotating around. They're looking for him the entire time. He drives into the paint, kicks it back outside, about a 15-footer. He looked for the shot, not there. Rotating it back out to the far side, looking for Maxon. Maxon's not available, kicks it out to number 42. 42 with it, picked it up his dribble, back to the top of the key. Back out to 42, picks it up. This one's stolen by Toma. Toma with now on the fast break, right-hand side layup, and that one's good. Ben Toma with 4 quick points here to start out the third quarter. 3:52 remaining, 28-2 the score. Maxon with it now, top of the key. Over to Torres. Torres with it now. Up to Pelhurst. And again, not much movement on this Falcon offense. Back to Torres. Torres tried to feed the paint in the middle. Nobody there. Stolen away by Balonis. Balonis leading up to Dalzon. Dalzon, left hand, no good. Rebound, Klein. Klein tries to tip it up. That one's off. Dalzon with it one more time. Up and in. And the Cyclones have stretched this one out to 28 now. 30-2, the third quarter score. 3:11 to go. Yet in the third quarter. Maxon with it now, feeding into the paint. 10-footer, turnaround jumper, no good. Rebound Falcons. Falcons going up with it. And this is going to be a foul on Dalzon. So Adam Cox is going to go to the free throw line with his first 2 of the game, trying to get the Falcons off of this number 2 that they've been on for about a quarter and a half now. Timeout on the court. So Cornerstone really enjoying themselves tonight. 30-2, a 28-point lead at the 2:59 mark here in the third quarter. A lot of active hands, a lot of good looks inside, and some big play coming tonight from both Ben Toma and Evan Klein. I tell you what, Toma is just all over the court. If you look on one side of the camera and then all of a sudden the ball spins back around, he's over there as well. A lot of fun to watch these guys. Balonis, Klein, Dalzon, Toma, and Marquardt now. Tyler Marquardt into the game. And actually check that. It is Klein, Dalzon, Balonis, Marquardt, and Ezra Miller into the game. So Toma and Tom taking a seat here. Free throw for Adam Cox. This one off the mark. And he'll have one more. Cox second free throw off the mark as well. So Cyclones will have this one out of bounds. And they're sporting a 28-point lead once again. 2:59 remaining here, third quarter. Klein's going to pass it in Dalzon, and Dalzon's going to take his sweet time walking this one up, as he should. Let the clock run here. Flanagan back into man. Evan Klein now at the free throw line. Throws this one up, no good. Tipped around. He's going to get his own rebounds. Trying to lob it over to Dalzon, and it's going to be knocked out of bounds and stay Cyclone ball. Dalzon gets the ball in bounds to Marquardt. Marquardt with it up to Balonis. Balonis now at the half-point line. Looking for somewhere to go. Tries to lob it into Klein. This one's stolen away by Cox, who loses his dribble. Back to Dalzon. Dalzon with it, who loses his dribble. Back and forth, and this one passed back to Dalzon. Dalzon now with a hard pass to Klein. Klein now with the bunny hopper, and that one from the box is good. And Evan Klein now approaching 20 points on this ball game with a 32-2 lead here with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. And an official timeout, mask timeout, to give these boys a breather. So I would fully expect to see a lot of rotation now on the Cyclone end, just getting everybody some experience at every position here with 2 minutes left in the third quarter. Just let the boys play the different positions and try out some stuff that you've been working on in practice, some different defensive looks, some different offensive sets. And with a 30-point lead here, it's a great opportunity to experiment here a little bit. Kudos off to Flanagan, though. They've had several nice looks and just been unable to get the ball through the rim. It's just one of those nights. There's those nights when the ball just won't fall, and tonight is one of those. So it's going to be Cyclone ball. Check that. Going to be Flanagan ball. Cyclones are going to drop back into their 2-3 zone. And Flanagan's going to bring this across timeline. Maxon now with the top of the key. Over to Donzie. Don's back up top to Brown. Brown now with it, looking inside, nowhere to go. Back out to Don's. Don's with it, takes a couple steps, so they didn't call anything. Back to Maxon. Maxon now left-hand dribble into the paint. Back out to Brown. Brown with it now. Picks it up, and this one's going to be stolen away by Dalzon. Dalzon, easy layup, left hand up and in. And stretches this one out to 34-2. Maxon with it, top of the key, taking his time. Not a whole lot of movement on that offense. Maxon with it, picks up his dribble, back up top to Brown. Brown now with it over to Dons. Dons with it. Back up, stolen this time by Ezra Miller, and Ezra Miller gets robbed at the last minute. And then he reaches back in and steals it back. Ball's on the ground. Dalzon comes away with it. Dalzon out to Tyler Marquardt. Marquardt with a long shot. That one just off the front of the rim and turned back over. Rebound goes to Flanagan, but then stolen by Evan Klein. And they're going to say that Klein was fouled. Or a jump ball, actually. So Cornerstone's going to have it and at the sideline. And throw it into Dalzon. Dalzon's now going to with it, just going to slow it up here. Flanagan back into man. Dalzon on the right-hand side, dribbles into the paint, kicks it over to Marquardt. Marquardt with it now, rotating it back out to the top of the key, looking over to Klein. Klein with it, 15-footer. That one off the front of the iron. Rebound to the Flanagan Falcons. Maxon with it now. Going to push it up the court. Dalzon on his side, up there by Balonis. Balonis, no foul call, but rebound Klein. And time is going to run out in the third quarter. And Cornerstone coming out and putting 12 more on the board since halftime to stretch this lead out to 32. And now the Cyclones have a 34-2 advantage here in the fourth quarter. Take a break here and watch our cheerleaders. One more quarter left here in the 7th grade action. Cornerstone leading Flanagan 34-2. 8th grade game coming up next. And the 7th graders are playing much more cohesive than they did here just last week. Going to be Flanagan ball out on the sideline. No pressure by Cyclones. Cyclones are dropping back into their 2-3 zone. Maxon with it now at top of the key. Over to Brown. Brown with it, rotating back around, over to Dons. Dons with the right-hand side, looking for Maxon. That one's going to be pickpocketed. We read that one the entire way by Dalzon. Dalzon pushing it up, finding Marquardt on the near side. Marquardt with it now, rotating it back up, taking a jumper. That one's off the mark. Rebound to Flanagan. Tries to pass it up, tipped by Dalzon. Going to go out of bounds and stay Falcon ball. Maxon with it now, top of the key. 34-2, 5 minutes and 14 seconds remaining here in the game. Long shot by Brown. That one off the mark, going to go out of bounds. And a turnover to the Cyclones. We'll see if they put any pressure on here. They don't. They're just going to pick them up at half court. So Ezra Miller now bringing the ball up. Balonis on the near side, looking to screen for Marquardt. Tips it out to Marquardt. Marquardt with it now, rotating the top of the key, looking for Klein. Sees Dalzon all the way over there, knocked around, and that one's going to be picked up by the Falcons. Falcons come up and put that one up and in. Adam Cox with his first bucket of the afternoon, and that one breaks that 2-point number they've been sitting on here for about 2 quarters. Ezra Miller with it now, left-hand dribble around the near side. Tipped away, stolen by the Falcons. Picked up his dribble, and that one knocked away by Klein. Klein now with it, kicks it over to Marquardt, but they're going to say Klein drug his pivot foot as he went to pass. Turnover, back to Flanagan. Into the game for the Falcons. Number 14, Oliver Weber. So I think I swallowed a fly or something there. Excuse me. Maxon now with it, top of the key. Over to Dons. Dons now with it, rotating to his left. Lost handle on it, picked up by Balonis. Balonis now with it, now needs some help. Looking for Dalzon. Does find Dalzon in the middle. They got to get across the timeline. Feeding up to Marquardt, and that one's going to go off the top of Tyler's hands and out of bounds. Turnover back to the Falcons. Maxon back with it. 3:13 remaining here in the fourth quarter. 34-4. Cyclones have the edge. $15-foot pop jumper, no good. Rebound, Cox. Cox put it back. Nobody there. Balonis grabs it. Balonis had some big rebounds here in this one. And Dalzon now with it, just looking to slow it back up. Dalzon, right-hand side. Nobody there. Kicks it back around to Evan Klein. Klein now with it. 18-foot jumper. That one's good. And Evan Klein has just had a whale of a ball game tonight. 36-4. 2.5 minutes remaining here in the fourth quarter. Pelhurst with it. Top of the key. Pelhurst drives in left-handed. Puts it up off the glass. No good. Dalzon with it. Dalzon comes out for the Cyclones, looking up the court to Evan Klein. Nobody there, but Ezra Miller picks that one up, puts one off the glass. It doesn't go in. Ball's rolling around there, saved by the Falcons. Falcons pick it up and pick up his dribble, but able to get this one back across the timeline somehow. And looks like Dalzon's got a sore knee. And they're going to get Joel Dalzon with a reach in there. And they're going to call a mask timeout as well. With 1:46 remaining here in the fourth quarter, the Cyclones lead the Falcons from Flanagan 36-4. We'll take a break and bring you the last minute and a half here in just a couple. Cyclones have unloaded for 36 points here in this game thus far. 1:46 remaining here in the fourth quarter. But the big story is their defense tonight, only holding Flanagan to 4 points. So 36-4 is the score. And Evan Klein having the kind of game that I'm sure the coaches knew he had in him. And I believe he's got 22 of the 36 tonight. Ben Toma back in this game, as well as Evan Tom. Dalzahn and Klein are going to sit for the remainder of this one. Maxon now with it, driving down in the paint, gets this one knocked away. They're going to maintain possession of it, though. Flanagan will. Trapped down there at the baseline, kicking it back up to Maxon. Maxon now with the top of the key, drives down the paint, 6-foot jumper. That one's up and good. 6 points now for the Falcons. Ben Toma with it, top of the key, takes it across the timeline. Good pressure by Maxon. Rings it around to Tyler Marquardt. Marquardt with it now, rotating around, back to the top, takes a pick, and fires one off. That one just off the back of the glass as well, but rebound goes to Flanagan. Ball's on the ground here, but Flanagan was able to pick it up and maintain control. 1 minute remaining here in the fourth quarter. Cornerstone going to move to 2-0, at least the 7th grade will. Down in the paint now, 6-footer. Nope, not going to kick it back out is what they're going to do with that one. Down to the near side, looking for Maxon on the baseline. They're going to pop it out to him. He's going to take a long two-pointer, but they're going to call Tyler Marquardt with the hold. So that one is going to go out of bounds to Flanagan. Clock stays running here over 30 points, so 36-6. Clock running 19 seconds. Flanagan stops and pops. And that's Maxon here with his 4th point of the night. 36-8 now. 10 seconds remaining. Toma now with it at the timeline. Over to Marquardt. Marquardt beyond the 3-point line. Over to Evan Tom. Evan Tom launches a 3-pointer at the buzzer, and this one not going to fall. But regardless, Cornerstone pouring it on tonight. 36-8, your final score in game number 1 of our doubleheader. Congratulations to both squads, as Flanagan just could not find the bottom of the net tonight. Cornerstone went on a hot streak led by Evan Klein. Klein just having a monster of a game. 22 points to lead all scorers. Ben Toma playing quite a nice game as well. And Joel Dalzahn probably had 10 or 12 steals tonight as well. Great job all the way around. 36-8, your final score in game number 1. Coming up next, we've got 8th grade boys action. And these 8th grade boys are a lot of fun to watch. I'd encourage you to stick around. We'll have that one coming up for you in about 10 minutes. We'll have tip-ups, and I'll give you starting lineups and rosters here coming up in just a few. Well, good evening for those that are just joining us and those that are sticking around from game number one. You missed a high-scoring one here when it came to one team, and those were the Cyclones. In game number one, coming out on top 36-8 in 7th grade action. Coming up here in just a few, we'll have 8th grade boys action. As both squads getting warmed up here tonight. Cornerstone taking on the Falcons from Flanagan. And it will be these 8th grade boys are a lot of fun to watch. It's amazing to me as I watch my girls grow up here as well. The grade, the difference in physicality between one grade to the next, and you'll see a different squad come out here for the 8th grade. Looks like these boys have grown 5 inches since last year. But regardless, ton of fun to watch. They're very quick. They shoot the ball real well. They move the ball real well. And Eli Clinton with just a monster of a game last week. Some big key three-pointers to take a halftime deficit, put the boys back on top, and then carry that team on his shoulders throughout the rest of the evening. Guys warming up right now, 4.5 minutes. We'll have tip-off for you. And I'm trying to convince my daughter to do some play-by-play here this afternoon. Allie, are you going to do that this evening for us for the 8th grade game? Some play-by-play. People out there want to hear you. Taking that as a big fat no. Hey, if I can make it up for volleyball, you can make it up for basketball, right? Go down the rosters for both squads here. Let's start with the visiting Falcons from Flanagan. Number 0, Rudra Patel. Number 2 is Jared Bresner. Number 23 is Mason Rich. 30, Connor Reed. 32, Jake DeWald. 34 is Cohen Schneider. 33 is Javian Maxon. We saw him just play in the 7th grade game. And number 14, Oliver Weber, who also played in the 7th grade game. We'll go over our home team lineups here in just a second. I am checking on just a few things here. Going to attempt to get the roster correct tonight. It's been pointed out to me that I got some numbers shifted around here, so I'm just double checking on a couple of things before we get going. About 23 seconds here left before we get this one started. Your Cornerstone roster for tonight: number 1, Bryce Nicholas. Number 13 is Keith Hahn. Number 14, Aaron Webb. 30 is Ian O'Connor. 31, Jared Brosnick. 33 is Danny Gonzalez. 34, Caleb Lade. 32 is Eli Clinton. And 23, Antonio Mancia. Quiet gymnasium. I'll try to change that because it's too quiet in here. Flanagan comes out. And no jump ball in 8th grade either. Ball's going to be taken by the visitors out. And we'll see what kind of a defense Cornerstone comes out in. Looks like they're going to be a man to start. Out on the court, number 1, Bryce Nicholas. That is going to be Aaron Webb, Ian O'Connor, Eli Clinton, and Caleb Lade. Getting set for this one. Game number 2 of our doubleheader. And I think they're making dinner plans, the officials and the coaches, down there at the table. She wants soup and salad. He says, no, I would like steak. I think they're just going back and forth now. They'll get it worked out here, figure out what they want to eat, and we'll get this one underway here shortly. My daughter's not impressed by my humor, or at least an attempt at it. Getting set to go. They're just checking lineups and double-checking numbers and starters. All that has to be in place. They're bringing a couple of 7th graders back out, so making sure those numbers are still matching up with what they've got on the book. And as soon as they get that taken care of, we will get this one underway. If you're just joining us, welcome. And 7th grade boys picking up victory number 2 on the season. For them, playing incredibly well. 36-8, their victory tonight over Flanagan. And here we go. Game number 2. Flanagan Falcons versus the Cyclones. 0-0 the score. This one just underway. Cyclones back in man. Flanagan now with it on the far side. Rotating it back out. Nope, they're going to keep it down the baseline. Looking inside. Nobody there, so they rotate it back out to the top. Rotating around, looking for motion, but no motion going on in their offense right now. 23 with it now. Off his foot, has to pick up his dribble. Fires across the court, long side, still sticking around outside the three-point line. Near side to number 30 here, Connor Reed. Reed with it now resetting the offense. They're dropping things back in to the center, rotating 2 guys around. Back around to the baseline. Long three-pointer is on the way, and that one's going to be good. And finally, some offensive movement for the Flanagan Falcons as Jake DeWald comes up big with his first three-pointer. 3-0 here, 5:11 to go in the first quarter. Clinton now with it on the baseline, beyond the three-point line. Looks inside. Finds inside to O'Connor. O'Connor with it. Turnaround. No good. Rebound to the Falcons. Falcons going to push it up now. Pass it long cross court. Back around, almost stolen by Nicholas. Reached out and just had it picked away. Long three-point attempt as well. This one going off the mark, but rebound back to the Falcons. Falcons feed down into the middle to Patel. Patel with it, nothing, kicking it back out. And a long three-point attempt, good by Connor Reed. And all of a sudden, the Falcons have a 6-0 lead here with 4:36 remaining in the first quarter. Down to Clinton. Clinton, long three-pointer with it. Looks up. This one, air ball, long, and rebound to Falcons. Falcons now with it, pushing it up the court. Reed with it, drives to the paint. Stop, pop. That one's going to roll around and drop in as well. And Flanagan jumping out to an 8-0 lead here early on in the first. Nicholas going to slow things down. Looking to his right to Lade. Lade now driving down the paint, going to take one. This one no good. Rebound O'Connor. O'Connor kicks it back out to Nicholas. Left hand down in the paint. And they're going to say they got a foul on the floor. That foul is going to go against Patel. That's going to be his first. So Cyclones will have this one. They're going to call it on the ground before Nicholas got up in the air to shoot. So Cornerstone out of bounds play here underneath their own basket. Outside to Clinton. Clinton, long three-pointer. That one is good. And Eli Clinton putting points on the board for the Cyclones. 8-3 now, the score in the first. Pushing the ball up the court are the Falcons. Rich with it. Rich with it now on top, surveying the defense. Guys setting it back up. Look for two guys to circle around here, which they do. First one's going to get the ball and then look across court for the second. They had Rich picked up his dribble, and all of a sudden Reed had to come pick it up. But he's going to stop and pop a three-pointer, and he's got a hot hand. That one falls. Another three-pointer for the Falcons, number 3 of the night, 11-3. They have got an 8-point lead. Nicholas now with it. Over to Clinton. Clinton on the far side, back to Nicholas. Nicholas back out to the top of the key, rotating around, kicks it out to Webb. Webb with it, picked up his dribble, back to Nicholas. Nicholas back up top to Lade. Lade, stop, pop, 15-footer. That one off the mark. Rebound, they're fighting for it. He picks up his own rebound. Nicholas with it now, over to Clinton. Clinton left-hand dribble down the paint, and that one is up and good. Eli Clinton with his 5th point of the night. And the lead cut back to 6. 11-5, 2:45 remaining here, first quarter. Flanagan on top. Rich with it now. Over to Bresner. Bresner to the other side. Far side, back to Rich. Rich, left-hand dribble into the paint. Stop, pop, 12-footer. That one up and in. And Flanagan has got a hot hand early on here. And a timeout called on the court. 13-5. The Falcons have hung 8 thus far on the Cyclones. 2:31 remaining here in the first quarter. And the Falcons have not missed many. Some pure shooters out there for Flanagan. And they came out ready to play tonight. That combination of Mason Rich and Connor Reed, that's a nice front court there. Real nice looking shooters. And that's always what happens here. And typically in the first quarter is you start to understand who the big players are going to be, key players are, and what their strengths and weaknesses are. And then that's the coach's job to adapt and adjust and try to tighten down on those big, long three-point threats and then those good penetrators and then also your post players. 2.5 minutes to go here in the first quarter, 13-5. Flanagan on top. Cyclones coming back out. All 5 points thus far by number 32, Eli Clinton. Lade now is going to bring this one up across the timeline. Trailed by Nicholas. This one over to Webb. Webb with it, down to Clinton. Clinton on the far side, baseline, feeds it into O'Connor. O'Connor, one-step dribble, turn, fires over to Webb. Webb now with it, that one long, rebound to the Flanagan Falcons. Falcons now with it, looking to push it up court, and a nice fake pass there. Baseline jumper, this one off the mark, though, and Lade with the rebound. Out to Nicholas. Nicholas likes to run. Right up ahead to Clinton. Clinton up with it, and right over the rim, Eli Clinton with his 7th point. And I have to readjust here. Flanagan with it now on the near side. Feeds inside to Reed. Reed with it. Easy bunny hopper up and in. And Flanagan now 15-7 with minute 32 remaining here in the first quarter. Nicholas over to Lade. Lade now with it baseline. Back to the middle to O'Connor. O'Connor with it now to Nicholas. Nicholas left-hand drive down the paint. And they're going to say he was fouled on the ground. So it'll be out of bounds here for the Cyclones. Nicholas will take it out. Clinton up in the front position, followed by O'Connor, Lade, and Webb. Into Lade. Lade, little 5-footer. That one off the glass to bring this one back within 6. 15-9 now. Flanagan on top. Bringing across the timeline is Reed. Reed having a pick over to Rich. Rich now with it, top of the key. Back to DeWald. DeWald feeds the middle. That one's batted around a little bit, but retained by Flanagan. Back out top to Reed. Coach calling for motion. Reed's going to ball fake and then have to shoot a three-pointer. That one off the mark. Rebound Lade for the Cyclones. Lade pushing it up Off a ball screen, takes around baseline, little 7-footer pop, up and good, and Caleb Lade with an impressive baseline jumper there in traffic to get this one cut back to 4. 15-11 the score, 44 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. Lade with the and one, and that one falls, in 15-12 now. Reed brings this one across the timeline. Off to Rich. Rich back up to the top of the key to Bresner. Bresner has it picked by Nicholas. Nicholas wide open, left-handed layup. That one up and good. And all of a sudden, the Cyclones back within 1. 23 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. 15-14. It's a 1-point Flanagan lead. Reed with it, top of the key. They're going to watch for one shot here. Rotates to his right. Reed coming around to the top of the key, but fed over to DeWald. DeWald with it now on the left-hand side, looking deep, and it picked off by Clinton, and he's not going to get that one off, as that's how the first quarter is going to end. An exciting one here, 15-14, as the Cyclones come storming back after an 8-point advantage at one point in time by the Falcons. But the Cyclones able to cut it back to 1. Moving into period number 2, quarter number 2, 15-14 the score. Have more for you here in just a second, but we will watch our cheerleaders here. We thank our cheerleaders tonight. There are 5 of them: Addie Jeffrey, Maddie Klein, Caitlin Scott, Emmy Jeffrey, and Anya McAtee. Cyclones are going to have possession here to start out quarter number 2. Trail by 1. Nicholas taking the ball out of bounds. Lade now is going to bring it up the court. Crossing the timeline. Back to Nicholas. Nicholas on the right-hand side to Webb. Webb, ball fake, drive baseline. Nothing doing. Kicking it back out to Lade. Lade with it now, or Nicholas, I'm sorry. Kicking it back out to Clinton. Back top to Lade. Lade looking inside. O'Connor setting a screen, but nope, going to call for it. Turnaround 15-footer, stop, pop. That one off the mark. Rebound to Flanagan. Rich bringing this one up and hands that one off to Reed. Reed with it. Over to DeWald. DeWald with it. Back up to the middle. This one tipped away and turned over. O'Connor now with it. Left-hand layup. That one up and just off the mark. Clinton with it. No good. Lade gets the rebound and then all of a sudden passes it right to the other player. Turnover there. Back to the Falcons. Still 15-14, 5 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Top of the key now with it is Patel. Patel down here to DeWald. Near side, DeWald right hand. Looking to the middle. Over to Rich. Rich now with it. 8-footer, stop. This one off the mark. Tipped around, and Cyclones are going to come out with that one. And Lade's mask came off, but no whistle. O'Connor with it on the right-hand side. He's going to stop and fire from about 9 feet out. Rebound Clinton. Clinton goes up, and he is going to be fouled and go to the free throw line here for 2 with a chance to tie it up and then put the Cyclones up by 1. 15-14, 4:38 remaining here in the second quarter. Eli Clinton at the line. Clinton's first one off the mark. He'll have one more. 4 team fouls now on Flanagan. Into the game, number 34, Cohen Schneider. Clinton's second shot is up and on its way. That one's going to rattle around, touch all sides, and fall in, and we are all tied up. Substitution in the game here. Keith Hahn is going to come in, and Aaron Webb is going to have a seat. So the officials are saying that on a whistle, on a stoppage of play, if there's going to be something to buzz, if there's a player that wants to buzz in, the official, after the buzzer sounds, has to call that player in. They're just explaining that to both coaches and both teams here. 4.5 minutes to go, 15-15, all tied up. Second quarter, 8th grade game. Second game of a doubleheader. Flanagan now with the ball up top of the key. Reed with it now, slowing things down. They like to set that offense up, and then you're going to see two guys start to spiral around. Wide motion over to Patel. Patel now up to the top of the key, and they're going to call a foul on number 32, Eli Clinton. They're going to say he got on the hands of Patel. So Falcons are going to have it down in the corner on the sideline, right along the baseline. Cyclone still in man-to-man. Goes in long to DeWald. DeWald now with it, top of the key. Right-hand dribble. Penetrate, nothing doing there. Back out to Rich. Rich now with it, floats it over, but Nicholas reaches in at the last minute, tips that one away, pushing it down the lane, taking it himself. Right hand up, and that one's going to roll all the way around the rim and out. But they're going to get Mason Rich, I believe, with the foul. So Nicholas is going to go to the line for two. And a chance to put the Cyclones here in front. 4 minutes to go here, second quarter. Nicholas' first shot. That one's off the mark. He'll have one more. Falcons shifting things up here just a little bit. Second shot. Second shot is up, and this one is off as well. Rebound over to the Falcons. Reed now with it, top of the key. And they're setting back up their motion offense. Over to Rich. Rich now with it, back over to Bresner. Bresner back to Reed. Reed now tries to feed the inside to Patel. Stolen away by Clinton. And Clinton just slows it down, gives it back to Nicholas. Nicholas now jogging it up, just crossing the timeline. Top of the key off to the right-hand side to Lade. Lade with it, left-hand dribble. Over to the far side of Clinton. Clinton now cuts back to the middle, into Nicholas. Nicholas right hand, hard layup, and he's going to be fouled again and go to the line for two shots. We'll see who they got here for the foul. I believe it was number 0. Yeah, it was 0. So Rudra Patel picking up his first personal. Sends Nicholas back to the line. Still 15-15, 3.5 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Nicholas' first shot up and off the mark. And he's missed 3 in a row here. See if he can get this one in. Nicholas steps back, takes his dribbles. Second shot is up, and that one rolls around and out as well. Rebound down and kind of a tie-up underneath. It's going to roll out of bounds, and they're going to say it went off a Cyclone player. Eli Clinton underneath there, so Flanagan's going to take possession. Still tied up at 15 here in the second quarter. 3.5 minutes to go. Reed with it now, off to Bresner. Bresner back up top to DeWald. DeWald back over to Patel. Reed now with the top, back over to the corner to DeWald. DeWald, long three-pointer, and he has got a smooth shot. And that one falls and puts the Falcons back up by 3. 3 minutes to go here, second quarter. And they're going to call Lade here for the carry. So that one's going to get turned over back to the Falcons. And the Falcons now with it again. DeWald now with it, back around to himself. Right-hand dribble, tips it off. Nobody there, picked up by Lade. Late now, switches to his left hand under some pressure, but everybody's going to back off. He's at top of the key, over to Hahn. Hahn now down to Clinton. Clinton feeds the inside to O'Connor. O'Connor back up the top to Lade. Lade right-hand dribble cutting down the lane, off the glass. This one just off, back to O'Connor. O'Connor picks this one up, and that one goes off the glass as well. Long rebound by Flanagan. Quickly down the court is Mason Rich. Rich now trying to get it over to Reed, and does. Back to Rich. He's the three-point shooter. He throws this one up. This one, though, off the mark. Fight for it. Rebound back to Flanagan. Long three-point attempt off the mark as well. Rebound to DeWald. DeWald now back out to Rich. Rich now left hand down to the paint, about 8 foot away, and he's going to be fouled by Caleb Lade there. So he's going to go to the line for 2 shots. 18-15, 3-point Falcon lead. And we're going to get a timeout here by the Cyclones as we're going to talk this one over. A little bit of frustration now from the players as they've had a couple of unforced turnovers and a couple of sloppy plays, and just trying to, coach wants to slow things down, talk to the boys, and just say, hey, let's get our heads back around us. Several opportunities here by the Cyclones, and just ball's not falling like they want it to. But I tell you what, that Mason Rich has a nice-looking three-point shot. Very pretty, very compact, and nice rotation on the ball every time he puts it in the air. He'll be going to the line for 2 shots here with 2 minutes to go in the second quarter. They hold a 3-point lead over your Cyclones. Two minutes to go here, second quarter, and it's actually going to be out of bounds, they're going to say. So Flanagan with it now underneath the basket, out to DeWald. DeWald now swing it over, looking for Reed, and they jump on him right away. Long shot by Reed again. That one rebound to the Cyclones. Out to Nicholas. Nicholas on the right-hand side. One guy in the middle, and kind of an acrobatic, out-of-control shot there, but picked up and rebounded by the Cyclones. Put back, no good. And it looks like Nicholas has an injury here. He's down on the court, but is going to stand up on his own power. And I don't know if he rolled an ankle there. It was an awkward shot. But he's going to say he's okay. And we're going to keep going. Ball's going to go back to Flanagan. Yeah, that's what I thought. They're going to make him come out for at least one play because the game was stopped because of his injury. Looks like he points toward his shin like he got a Charlie horse there. Flanagan now with the ball. Top of the key, Jake DeWald. DeWald with it, guarded by Webb. Just going back and forth right now, looking down the baseline to Rich. Rich with it. He's their hot shooter. Ball fake to the left, drive to the right at the free throw line, back behind his back to the left-hand side. Out to Reed. Reed now with it, baseline jumper. That one goes up and off, gets his own rebound, puts that one back up, and there's a miss. Fight for the ball. We're going to call a jump ball. And that one's going to stay down here underneath the Falcon basket. Nicholas going to come back into the game now for Webb. Also into the game is Antonio Mancia. Cyclones have switched to his own, but still a long three-pointer by Connor Reed there. Cyclones now down by 6, 21-15, 1 minute to go here in the second quarter. Nicholas with it, right-hand side, drives down the lane, puts this one up, and he's going to get called for a foul and put Nicholas back to the line. Nicholas has some great moves in the paint, but just unable to do anything with it once he tries to put it off the glass. He's been to the line twice now tonight, 4 shots, and has missed all 4. We'll see if he can get 2 here. First shot is up, and that one is good. Nicholas picking up his first points here. 21-16 now the score. 57 seconds remaining here in the second quarter. Next shot by Nicholas is up and in as well. So Bryce getting 2 good free throws there to bring the Cyclones back within 4, and a timeout here, a mask timeout, called by the official. If you're just joining us, those mask timeouts can be called at any time by the official. And they're exactly that, timeout, because the boys are wearing masks. So lets the boys grab a drink of water, and it doesn't hurt the teams at all. And it's a 1-minute timeout, just as a breather. Boy, I'll be thankful when these dumb things come off. 57 seconds here remaining in the second quarter. 21-17 is the score. Flanagan on top. Cyclones coming back out. So you got Lade, O'Connor, Clinton, Mancia, and Nicholas out there for the Cyclones. They're dropping back into a 1-2-2. And then they're going to drop back into a, man defense. Picking up very quickly. Ball coming back around. DeWald now with it. Over to Rich. Back on top of the key, and that one's going to be long. Picked up by Nicholas. He's so fast. Drives down there. Right-hand lane, and that one's going to fall. And you can just sense that once he gets going, he's going to be hard to stop here. 21-19, back within 2. 28 seconds remaining here in the second quarter. Back around to Rich. Rich down with it, left-hand side, down to DeWald. DeWald back out to Rich. And lob overhead to Reed. Reed now with it. One ball fake step, 3-point shot up in the air. That one's going to rim out. And rebound by O'Connor. Clinton now with it, pushing it down the court. Drops it off to Lade, but that one's going to be out in front. And a turnover by the Cyclones with 7 seconds to go here in the second quarter. 21-19, 2-point Flanagan advantage. Rich now, long 3-point shot. That one's up and good at the buzzer. And that kid can flat out shoot. 4 feet behind the 3-point line and just off balance. Threw that one up in the air to give the Flanagan Falcons a 5-point halftime advantage at 24-19. That's where stuff's going to sit here for halftime. We'll talk a little bit more about it in just a couple minutes. Once again, at the end of 2, 8th grade game, your Cyclones trail the Flanagan Falcons 24-19. I didn't see that when he was warming up, and then all of a sudden, that guy he can just flat out shoot.
I mean, that last buzzer beater is like you expect that to go.
He's off balance. Two guys coming at him 4.5 feet behind the 3-point line. Seriously, I think he's missed one. I think he's 4 for 5.
I mean, without him, there's no way this is the game.
No. Yeah, he's what makes that defense have to come out, and then that opens everything up in the inside. You got a guy like that, it changes the complex or the perspective of everybody out there.
Completely. It'll be interesting to see if he grows into a player in high school now.
He gets a little taller.
Yeah.
He's get a little taller. But a lot of these kids out on these rural farm communities, farm boys just work hard.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't quit, they don't give up, and Dad and Grandpa got a basket hanging on a telephone pole, and that's what they shoot on, you know? I was the same way.
And then when they get in the gym, it's easy because there's no...
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, he's by far the best shooter out of the court.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Are you doing okay on water? Do you need water?
I'm good.
Okay.
Half left, I'm good.
All right.
I can use a ribeye. You got a ribeye.
I'll call my wife, make sure she gets two ready.
There you go. Getting set here for the start of quarter number 3 in the 8th grade game. Cornerstone trailing by 5, 24-19 here. And the story of the first half has been Mason Rich, the sharpshooter from Flanagan. He's got 4 3-pointers to lead all scorers. Nicholas having a great game for the Cyclones as well. Has had a lot of opportunities in there with some fast break points but some fast break attempts, but just unable to turn them all into points. We'll see if that changes here this half. One more half of basketball. This is where Cornerstone found themselves here last week, down after the first half. And they were able to turn things around, come back out, and take the lead. Out on the court right now, Nicholas, Lade, Webb, Mancia, and Clinton. Lade's going to have it top of the key on the near side here. All the way around to Webb. Webb on the far side. Now fakes left, drives baseline, turns around. He's going to drag his feet, and that's going to be a pushing foul on number 23, Mason Rich. I thought it was going to be a travel, but they're going to get Flanagan on the foul. Cyclone's going to take it out of bounds on the side. Into Clinton. Clinton with it almost goes out of bounds, and Mancia with it and thought the basket was on the other end of the court and goes over and back on the turnover. So Flanagan will have it. One of those errors that just happens. Into the game now, Ian O'Connor. Reed with it now, top of the key, fakes right, drives left, and that one blocked. Laid down with it by himself, takes it down, right-hand side. That one rolls around and in. Caleb Lade with a nice pick. And he gets down the court in a hurry. 24-21, 3-point Flanagan advantage. Right-hand side to DeWald. DeWald rides it around and almost a turnover by the Falcons, and all of a sudden Mason Rich throws one up. This one off the mark, though, out of bounds, and it's going to stay with the Falcons. 5:17 remaining here, third quarter, 24-21 your score. Flanagan on top. Long pass out to DeWald. DeWald with it, back up to Patel. Firing it all the way around the other side to Reed. Reed now, baseline jumper, no good. Rebound, saved back in bounds to the Cyclones. O'Connor with it, one coming up behind him. He's going to take it all the way, rolls it up and in. And Ian O'Connor with 2 points there. 24-23 now. 1 point Falcon advantage. And this is exactly what the Cyclones did last week, coming out of the locker room. Drive down the lane. And they're going to get Aaron Webb with that foul. As Jake DeWald tried to take that down in the paint. Out of bounds, out to Reed. DeWald with it now. Looking for Reed. He's their sharpshooter. He's circling around on the other side. DeWald now with the top of the key. And passes it off to Reed. Sorry, yeah. Rich is their sharpshooter. Too many R's. That one's going out of bounds. And it will stay down here with Flanagan. Rich with it now, top of the key. Dribbles to his left. Staying out behind the three-point line. Reed now with three-point look, and that one is good. These two can shoot. Connor Reed with a three-pointer. 27-23 now. Flanagan on top, 4:13 remaining here in the third quarter. Lade with it now, top of the key. He's got a really high dribble. Nicholas with it, back to Lade, over to Webb. Webb now driving inside, nothing doing, and they're going to call Webb for a travel. Four minutes to go here in the third quarter. DeWald's going to bring this one up. DeWald over to Patel, almost stolen, but tipped back in bounds, and it is picked off. Nicholas now with it, right-hand side, layup up and good. And Bryce Nicholas with a nice pick. And up for two, 27-25. Quickly down the court is their sharpshooter, Rich. He passes off to Reed. Rich circling back around. And Reed's going to take it himself. Drive into the lane. This one long. Rebound to Nicholas. Nicholas now with it. Taking it left hand. Pushing it up the court. He's got a man down court. Is Lade. Lade turn around. Puts it up and in. And we are tied now at 27. 3:18 remaining here in the third quarter. Reed with it. Top of the key. Out to DeWald. DeWald three-point look. No good. Rebound Nicholas. He is all over the place. Pushing it up as well. Going to stop. Pop. 15-footer. That one just off the mark. Rebound Falcons. Falcons looking to push it up very quickly. Up to Rich. Rich now with it. Going to slow it back down. Reed. Long cross-court pass over to DeWald. DeWald 15-footer. Stop. That one's out. Out. Rebound to Lade. Lade now with it. Does not have numbers, but he's got the lead here. He's going to take it on himself one-on-one. And they're going to call a charge on Lade. And that was a very delayed call. And I didn't think he had position, but what I think doesn't much matter. Turnover, back to the Falcons. 2:38 remaining here, third quarter, 27-27 is their score. Reed now, top of the key with it. Rich has had the hot hand, but Reed has come up here as well. DeWald now with it, right-hand side over to Reed. And that, they're going to say, went off Rich at the last minute. Turnover, back to the Cyclones. So Cyclones with another opportunity here to get on top of this ball game. First time since about a minute into this game. Nicholas now with it up to Lade. Lade over to Webb. Out to Nicholas. His foot was on the three-point line. That one's going to miss by long, go right out of bounds, and land on the out-of-bounds line. So they're going to say that mass timeout here for the officials. But a little bit of a forced shot there. But we are tied up. 2 minutes to go here in the third quarter. 27-27 is your score. Nobody really in any foul trouble. And we thank our cheerleaders for sticking around for both games tonight. Tonight's cheerleaders are Addie Jeffrey, Maddie Klein, Caitlin Scott, Emmy Jeffrey, and Anya McAtee. So I think each one of these mass timeouts is about 30 minutes long. 27-27 the score. 2:07 remaining here in the third quarter. We're all tied up. Cyclones picking up where they left off last game. Made some adjustments there at halftime. Changed some things up on defense. A little more movement on offense. Into the game as well for Webb is Antonio Mancia. Falcons with the ball. Reed now bringing it across the timeline. And that one's going to be picked by Nicholas. Nicholas now on the left-hand side. Left-hand layup. That one off and strong. And Mancia picks this one up. Puts it back. Laid up with it. He's going to be fouled and go to the line for two. Nicholas with a great pick. And with his quickness, they were able to get down the court incredibly fast. Lade's first shot here. That one up and good. And that will put the Cyclones on top for the first time all night tonight. 28-27, Lade with one more. His second shot up and good. Cyclones now up by 2 with 1:50 remaining here in the third quarter. Reed with it. Over to DeWald. Back to Patel. Back to Reed. This one picked off by Nicholas. He's all over the place. Right-hand layup up and in and one. And Bryce Nicholas takes it all the way down the court and has an opportunity for a three-point play. His shot is up and good, and he's got the feeling now. He is by far the fastest player out there and is showing it right now. Reed with it now off to DeWald. DeWald penetrates left-hand side to Patel. This one's going to be thrown away and is actually going to go over and back. He tried to save it, but it went into O'Connor, and O'Connor's going to have to catch his breath here. I think that hit him right in the throat, right in the Adam's apple. That's not fun. And Keith Hahn is going to come in and let O'Connor have a breather. Lade now with it, top of the key. Nicholas on the far side, Hahn on this side. Nicholas with it. Feeds Mancia down low. Back to Nicholas, up to Lade. Now over to Hahn. Hahn, long three-pointer attempt. That one off the mark. Rebound, Mancia. Back out to Lade. Over to Nicholas. Nicholas, three-point shot. That one just off the mark. Rebound this time to Flanagan. DeWald with it, now pushing it up. Over to Reed. Fires it across to Rich. Rich is their hot hand. Goes baseline, about a 10-footer. This one off the mark. Rebound, Patel. Patel for Flanagan puts it up. This one blocked by Mancia and out to Lade. Lade now going to slow things up. 5-point lead for the Cyclones. Nicholas now with it far side. Mancia on the baseline. Tips into Clinton. Clinton gets it knocked away. No foul call. And they're going to say it went out of bounds off a Cyclone player. Turnover to Flanagan. 41 seconds here remaining in the second quarter. And O'Connor comes back into the game for Hahn. 5-point Cyclone advantage, 32-27. Reed brings it up. Over to Rich. Now back up to DeWald. Over to Patel. A lot of movement inside. Patel trying to find inside. Nothing going on to DeWald. Back out to Rich. Rich is their hot hand. Long three-pointer. That one off the mark. Rebound, O'Connor. O'Connor out to Nicholas. Nicholas likes to go. He's up there one-on-one by himself. Dishes off at the last minute. And that was a pass that was a little bit off the mark. Out of bounds. And turnover for the Cyclones. Still 32-27. 15 seconds remaining here in the third quarter. Reed bringing it across the timeline. Guarded by Nicholas. Looking for Rich. Rich has missed his last two here. Out at the left-hand side, going baseline. He's going to stop Pop with no time on the clock. That one's going to airball, and Nicholas with 1 second tries to heave one from half court, and this one goes off the glass. And a great third quarter by the Cyclones to stretch this one out. 32-27, just what they needed going into the final quarter. Falcons came out in this one and had some great shots to begin with and put themselves up by as many as 8 at one point in time. Went into the locker room with the lead, but just like the game before this one, Cornerstone came back out of the locker room, made some adjustments, and changed some stuff up. Made some buckets and got some turnovers, and now they have themselves a 5-point lead going into the fourth quarter. Coming out to start quarter number 4. It'll be O'Connor, Clinton, Lade, Nicholas, and Mancia. Back on defense. Cyclones back in man. Reed bringing this one up. Reed to his left-hand side. Taken off a pick by Battelle. Stop and pop, 8-footer. That one good. 32-29 now. Lade going to bring it up. Over to Clinton. Clinton now with it. Nothing doing. Kicking it back around. Lade on the right-hand side. Back out type to top to Nicholas. Nicholas now swinging it around to Clinton. Clinton, three-point look. That one is up, and he can shoot the ball as well. 35-29. 6-point advantage. Biggest point lead of the game for the Cyclones. Reed with it now. Looking down to Rich. Rich now, baseline, back to Battelle. Battelle at about the free throw line, having to kick it back out to Rich, who has a three-pointer at the baseline. No good, rebound Nicholas, and here's where he shines. Down the paint, right-hand layup, that one over, and rolls in, and the Cyclones starting to stretch this one out. 5 minutes to go, 37-29. DeWald, right-hand side. Baseline jumper, that one off the mark. Rebound Falcons, goes back up. Another rebound getting knocked around. Battelle comes out with it, and they're going to say he was fouled. I'm guessing by Nicholas. Because Nicholas, yeah, it was Bryce Nicholas who was on the arm. Out of bounds. Long pass over to DeWald. Back out to Reed. Reed, baseline three-point attempt. That one is good. To pull the Falcons back within 5. 4.5 minutes here remaining in the fourth quarter. Nicholas now with it. Out to Clinton. Clinton on the near side into Mancia. Down low to O'Connor. O'Connor turnaround pop. That one just off the mark. Rebound to the Falcons. Quickly down the court to DeWald. DeWald three-pointer. That one off. Mancia with the rebound, but knocked away by Battelle. That should go the way of Cornerstone, and it does. So Nicholas will have this one to take out of bounds. Cornerstone with a 5-point lead here. 4 minutes, 19 seconds remaining in the game. Laid with it. Feeds inside to O'Connor. Turnaround, 15-footer jumper. That one is good. Ian O'Connor putting the boys back up by 7, 39-32. Reed with it. Stop, pop, long three-pointer. That one off the mark. Fought for it, though. Battelle with the rebound for Flanagan. Back outside to DeWald. DeWald all the way over to Rich. Rich now with it at the free throw line. Picked up his dribble, nowhere to go. Kicks it back out to DeWald. Rotated back around to Reed. Reed now letting the boys set up. Ball fakes right, dribbles left. Little 6-foot bunny hopper. That one no good. Rebound Mancia. Out to Lade. And they're going to slow things up just a little bit. 3:33 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Over to Clinton. Clinton on the left-hand side drives down to the free throw line. Mancia is going to travel with that one as he was back on his heels when he got that pass. And nowhere to go right with it. Oh, they're going to call a mass timeout. A 35-minute mass timeout. 39-32 is the Cornerstone advantage here. Up by 7 with 3:25 remaining here in the fourth quarter. And the Cyclones playing much better here in the second half. And they're going to have to work on that coming out in future games. come out and play this way in the first half as well. And I think it just takes the boys getting a little bit fired up and a little bit on edge, and the boys seem to feed on that. And when they're kind of pushed up against the wall, able to bounce back, and all of a sudden they refocus, and defense changes a little bit, and they come out looking like a different ball team. Team definitely has quite a bit of talent on it, and they've just got to learn to channel it and work together as a squad. Yes, Dave Hughes, yes, it does. Basketball, a little more talking going on than volleyball. All right, last 3.5 minutes of this one. 7th grade boys victorious tonight. 8th grade game going right now. 7-point Cyclone advantage, 39-32. Bringing up the court is Connor Reed for Flanagan. Flanagan needs some points. Over to DeWald. That one tipped and out of bounds by Eli Clinton. Flanagan will maintain possession. So DeWald passes it inbound to Reed. Reed now back up at the top of the key, guarded by Nicholas. Lots of rotation, and they're looking for Rich. They find him, and he stepped on the baseline trying to save it. Kind of an errant pass there as they tried to skip one player to get it over to him. He was hotly contested by Lade and forced that one out of bounds. Nicholas now with it, out to Clinton. Clinton on the near side, goes baseline. A little bit of a log jam down there, but O'Connor turns around, comes out with it, turns around, and Ian O'Connor with a nice 10-foot jumper. 41-32, Cyclones back up by 9. Reed down the middle. 6-footer, no good. Rebound to the Falcons, puts that one back up. Actually it's going to be saved by Nicholas. Nicholas now with it on the far side. Kicking it way out to Clinton. Clinton now with 3-point look. That one up and good. Eli Clinton. And the Cyclones pouring it on. 44-32 now with 2 minutes and 26 seconds remaining here in the fourth quarter. Reed now with it. Top of the key, left-hand side. He's going to fire a long three-pointer. That one off the glass in the front. And all of a sudden, Nicholas, fast break by himself. This one up off the glass and in. And Bryce Nicholas, he can do that all day long. Long pass down the court, stolen by Lade. And you can hear Coach saying, hey, set it up, slow it down. Lade with it. Over to Clinton. Clinton now taking his time. Back to Lade, over to Nicholas. Nicholas far side. Man, they're just passing around the top. Lade penetrates down the right-hand side, looks up to himself, passes up, and nice little shot from about 3 foot away. And all of a sudden, the Cyclones with a 16-point advantage. Reed, long three-pointer, that one off. Rebound to Mancia. And we'll see where they're going to call the foul. And they're going to say Mancia had with the foul. They're going to hit him with the foul. So he will come out of the game, and Keith Hahn will come in for him. 30-second timeout on the floor. 1 minute, 34 seconds remaining here in the fourth quarter. Cyclones have just blown this wide open. 48-32, a 16-point Cyclone advantage. And the Cyclones hitting on all cylinders, it seems, after kind of an off first half. Have just come out here, and the Falcons have some really good shooters, but the defense of the Cyclones, being able to stay with these guys man-to-man and getting them right up in their face has really slowed down and iced them. And the Cyclones just started making their shots, and all of a sudden they find themselves back on top here. 48-32 now. 1 minute, 34 seconds to go. Into the game, we've got Clinton, Lade, Nicholas, O'Connor, and Hahn. Inbounds pass goes long, out of bounds. Turnover over to the Cyclones. coming into the game for the Cyclones. Hey, Joel. Okay. Number 4, Danny Gonzalez into the game now for the Cyclones. Laid with it now, top of the key. Over to Hahn. Hahn on the near side with it. Long pass cross court to Nicholas. Nicholas now with it down to Gonzalez. Gonzalez on the right-hand side, kicking it back into O'Connor. O'Connor has it knocked away. Flanagan comes out with it. 1 minute to go. Over to DeWald. DeWald now with it. Stepping outside the three-point line. Looking over to Rich. This one's stolen by Lade. Lade by himself here going up and puts that one in. Caleb Lade now leads 50-32 with 50 seconds to go. Cornerstone leads. Reed now with it. Stops, pops, long three-pointer. That one good. Connor Reed. And I tell you what, these boys from Flanagan can shoot the ball. Hands down. 50-35, 15-point lead. 41 seconds remaining now in this ball game. Hahn, Webb, Gonzalez, Nicholas, and Lade in the game for the Cyclones. Webb with it. Gonzalez with it now on the baseline. And they're going to call Danny Ford a travel there as he shuffled his feet. Turnover goes over to the Falcons. 26 seconds left. Connor Reed, I would imagine we're going to see three-pointers here. Nope, drive down the lane, 15-foot, down to the baseline. That one off the mark, rebound Nicholas. He's got probably 65 rebounds tonight. Up ahead to Keith Hahn. Hahn now with it, layup off the mark. Rebound to Flanagan. Flanagan's pushing it up, Reed with it now on the left-hand side. Long three-point attempt, that one air ball. Rebound out to Nicholas, 4 seconds remaining, and they're going to let this one go. Your Cyclone's going to come out victorious, a 15-point winner tonight. 50-35 on top of the Falcons from Flanagan. And what a ball game that was. Flanagan coming out in that first half and putting the Cyclones down by as many as 8. Cyclones going into halftime down. And Coach Clinton coming back out and making some adjustments at halftime to pull out the victory. 50-35, your final score. It's been a lot of fun bringing it to you tonight. Both boys, teams victorious this evening. We will have more broadcasts for you here. Starting, as I look on my calendar really quick. Tomorrow night we'll have girls volleyball here from Cornerstone starting at 5:30. And we'll bring you 7th and 8th grade action. And then Saturday as well, more broadcast. Thanks for joining us tonight. Your Cornerstone Cyclones victorious in 2 games. 7th grade boys victorious, and then here in the 8th grade game, 50-35, the final score. Had a lot of fun bringing it to you. We'll do it around on the flip side. Thanks for joining. Have a great night.